Welcome to GoldBoys Live. It's just me, Josh, Matkafee, excuse me, as well. We're here with for Pickett Sports Hall of Fame. I'm going to totally mess it up. I've never do this, as you can clearly tell. And also for what's the last one I'm forgetting? Sleeper picks as well, which did use last night, so I should be well referenced in that one. Matt, what's going on today, man?
Not too much. Trying to stay ahead of the lines for Dinger Tuesday and looking around, trying to take advantage of some of this, this heat and humidity we're having this week. So, small slate last night, but there was a ton of home runs hit with this big slate we've got today, and it being Tuesday. I think it could be a bit, nice day for the public. In what probably is one of the last few Dinger Tuesdays. If going by last season, I think it ended around this week, maybe one more week of it. So I'll probably have a few more plays than I normally do. But
Which
you
is a
got a
good
couple
thing.
things going for us here with the weather.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing because Brian was supposed to be on. His stream crapped out. We knew Brad and Will were not going to be able to make it so far this week, especially today. So it's good that you have a few extra dinger picks, dude, because we're going to need to get those out there. Do you want to start with dingers? Do you want to maybe ease into it with a few other best bets if you have them, or just get right into some home run stuff?
So I usually bet offense, going from the couple times we've talked to MLB. I always like to come with either a team total or a over in a game, just because I think for me it's a fun way to uh, bet it without having the lineups confirmed. In these afternoon shows, we're doing a lot of guesswork. Um, Sometimes it pays off great. Sometimes you get the surprise sit and you're like, oh, that stinks. But the few spots I like. Of course, I think you're going to talk about it. That Nats and Yankees game, I think over. I'm looking at 8, and I can't get my head around it. Why is it so low? So that's an over spot for me.
Before you go too far from that, the only
Yeah,
reason
go ahead.
because I definitely, like you said, spent a lot of time looking at that game, and the only reason that I didn't go over on the game total and took the Nats 3.5 instead was because of the righty matchup for again, Josiah Gray against this Yankees offense, which for the last like 6 weeks has been bad. Fourth
Hmm.
worst WRC plus. They strike out the eighth most. They have the second lowest batting average. That would be it. Now Josiah Gray's been awful, so it's like which force here do you think is weaker? Is it Josiah Gray or is it the Yankees offense? And it could be
Yeah.
either. He's got like basically a 6 FIP over his last 7 starts. People are hitting the crap out of the ball against him. He couldn't make it past 4 innings in his last 3 starts. Like whichever way you want to go with that, whichever one you think sucks less, maybe you go that route. But the 3.5 runs for the Nats, the way they've been hitting lefties and Rodon's been pretty bad. That was my favorite one from that one anyway.
I know some people are isolating Rodon too
Yeah.
because the
Oh yeah.
Yankees bullpen isn't horrible, but like you mentioned, he's a great target. You could go that with first 5. You could go with team total. You could go with his earned runs allowed. There's so many different ways you can isolate a starting pitcher that's struggling. I don't hate any of them.
Yeah.
Um,
I took the under 5.5 Ks. I was talking about it on a podcast last
yeah,
night, just saying I'm sure it's going to come out at 5.5. I didn't think I was going to get it at such good juice right away. I got it even money at DraftKings right as soon as it came out, and
nice.
then it's been bet down to like minus 140 by a lot of people. So I would still take under 5.5 for him. He's like if you just want the brief numbers on how bad he's been in July and August, a 7.33 ERA, 6 walks per 9. A 45% hard hit rate. That is absurd. That's good for like the second worst in that time frame. Believe it or not, there's a couple guys worse, but yeah, I like all of that stuff. Plus, like the Nats don't strike out against lefties. It's something that Brian and I have been talking about, and Will's been on it as well for at least a few months now. Which is whenever the Nats play lefties, go ahead and takes the value in that they're undervalued. And whenever they're facing righties, they're as bad as advertised. Go ahead and fade them and assume they're not going to get too many runs that way. They just don't really strike out. And so they eventually just get some guys on base here and there and slap them around at home. Brian took 1.5, over 1.5 for the Nats in the first
Okay.
5. fading Rodon specifically, and I understood his thought process, which is the Yankees bullpen is the actual strength of its team. It's like the third or second best bullpen in the league. It's been probably the best for the last month or so. So there's some reason to feel like you should fade Rodon and not feel as good about fading that bullpen. At the same
Yeah.
time, when Brian said that, it's one of those things where I was like, that's maybe getting overly smart for your britches there. Just take the fact that you get 9 innings for them to get 4 runs and don't worry
Yeah.
about having to get 2 in the first 5. But either way, I think both are pretty good bets there.
Yep, I think he's one of the main guys that we should be targeting if you're a player that likes to bet offense.
Yep. What about
We
Wayno?
could talk. Yep, I was just gonna, dude. You
I knew it.
literally like ripped it right off,
I knew it.
the tip of my tongue. So yeah, we could fade Wayno tonight. I expect the Pirates to go, pretty heavy with the left-handed bats, and honestly, Pittsburgh right here in this kind of Midwestern heat wave where it's everybody's getting these high 80s, low 90s with insane humidity and heat index. You get an old Wayno out there who's probably going to be tired, be feeling that heat, and yeah, I mean he's throwing pitches that are like 72 miles an hour right down the middle. I mean, hopefully the Pirates can take care of business. They're definitely a team that I think could hit their runs, and this game could go over as well. Because on the other side, I always say the Cardinals bats are going to wake up one of these days, but like
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much talent there that you don't want to ever. At least I personally don't want to fade them. I know it's been profitable fading the Cardinals all season, but I don't know. I feel like that's an angle where you're trying to look a little too smart
Dude,
for your
dude,
britches.
what it is to me is like it's like betting against Belichick and the Patriots in their current iteration, where it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, their defense is really good, not to get too far into it, but it is like you just see the Cardinals logo and you're like, I'm not betting against what's
Yep.
always a top 3 team in the NL and
Yep.
always atop the division. And then you're like, no, man, just believe what they're telling you at this point. They are that bad. But what do you think about that game for some dingers? Would that be where you might target it for that promo, or is there a better game? And we
So
can we can get into that if you want, but the reason I ask is just because both of these
mhm,
pitchers are pretty susceptible to giving up the long ball, as you said, Wayno. I mean, the other thing that's interesting is you might be getting a little value to be fading Wainwright this game because he had his second good start in the last like 3 months, both of
yeah.
which were against the Mets, and that was his last time out. And I actually predicted that he was going to be a little bit better than normal in that
Mhm.
game because I'm also a Mets fan who's pessimistic, and so I knew that
Sure.
was going to happen. But that seems to be the team that he's owned his whole career, and now it's. I think you're back in a situation that you can fade him with some confidence. What do you think about the home runs?
Yeah, I know Sawinski will be a popular look being a left-handed bat, but gosh, he's really struggled this month. I'm not trying to lock in on a guy that's hitting like 100 for the month. And I would target, McCutcheon. He's old. He doesn't have the same, exit velos. He's not hitting the ball the way he used to, but he's seen Wayno so much. Like I think he's got 70 at bats. The sample size is about as big as you're possibly going to get. I think
Yeah,
he's hit 3 home runs off of him. He's a potential look. Brian Reynolds could get you from both sides of the plate. I
yeah,
like both of those guys as looks that are a little longer than Sawinski at plus 440.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be the way I would attack it. Normally, I
Yep.
love getting the guy on the
On the
away
card.
team because you
Yeah.
just hopefully get that extra at bat. But yeah, I
Yeah.
just see the value right now being on the Pirate side of things because I want to attack Wayno.
I agree. And that's actually why I think you're getting a little bit of value on Arenado and Goldie because
Mhm.
just because you see them at plus 225 a lot to hit a home run. And Oviedo might be not as good of a matchup for them as well, which is why you're getting on FanDuel Arenado at plus 480. You get Goldie at plus 560. There might be something there. Christopher Shannon in the chat says it's Reynolds, right, for the Pirates. I mean, it's every time I'm like ready to turn the corner with Brian Reynolds, I'm just kind of like he just continues to let me down. So I
Yeah.
feel like I've been burned by him. I think is this the best game though? Like, do you have a better option
I
for
I
the promo?
I don't think it's the best game, but I think I'm one of those people, especially because of the promo. I feel like is on its final week, or maybe we have one more week of it, that I'm willing to take a few extra chances here. If you are more budget conscious and you need to isolate maybe 4 or 5 games versus playing, 8, 9, 10 games, I would skip this one. As bad as Wayno is, um, that I just do think that there's some better spots.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean he does throw it 72 down the middle sometimes. So you got to fricking put everything into that. Like you got to know the changeup's coming, sit on it,
Yeah.
and really, really fucking blast it. I like
True.
targeting guys that throw, low to mid 90s who have location problems, and that way you could get on those fastballs, and you just have a much better chance of
Yeah.
taking that 400 feet than you do some junk that's off
Agreed.
speed.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
And so I do want to jump into what Justin Elkins said because I was going to get to Ryan Mountcastle, easy for me to say, and
yeah.
and then he said it before I could, and
Hmm.
that's fine. I don't know if I seem like a copycat or not, but I have plenty of stats to back up why I was already all over him because
Yeah.
I was already betting the Baltimore money line in this game.
Okay.
I think I looked at this matchup super deeply, and I've been following Kikuchi and Grayson Rodriguez both actually pretty recently.
Hmm.
Grayson Rodriguez on the fantasy team, so that's a big part of that. But Kikuchi's looked really good. They've both been really good in their matchups. Kikuchi has been hit pretty hard by a few
Yep.
guys on the Orioles, and no one harder than Ryan Mountcastle, who has 7 hits and 12 at bats. 4 of those hits are home runs. He has 8 ribbies in 12 at bats versus him. He's slugging 167. His OPS is 234. Yeah, like so he's just crushing everything he sees in a 12 at bat sample size against the lefty Kikuchi. He is
Hmm.
the best bet for a home run in this one, and there is still some value on him. I just don't love the game to have a bunch of homers, which is kind of the point of the promo. I think Kikuchi's been doing a really good job of inducing weak contact. Now that's partly why his xERA and his xFIP are much higher. But his xERA over his last 7 games, let's say, his xFIP is 294, but his FIP is 175. So it's like even if he reaches his expected numbers, that's still an insanely good FIP. He's been really really good. Like I said, inducing that weak contact, which is
Yep.
why I don't love this game. Then Grayson Rodriguez has also been incredible in his last 5 with a 162 batting average against, 0.85 WHIP. Toronto versus righties is horrible in August. Ever since Bo Bichette went down, 5th worst WRC plus, 3rd worst batting average, and on for why they've been so bad against righties in the month of August. So that's why it's like I wouldn't mind an under in this game, even though I like a Mountcastle home run bet because you still got it at like plus 460, which is why it's not too bad. And maybe you just go for the
Yep.
bases, which is what Elkins
Yep.
just jumped in with as well, which is probably a smarter bet overall. Maybe there's like a little sprinkle, maybe 0.1 unit kind of bet on Mountcastle homer just to get just because I want in on the action of that. And then at the 2 bases at even money that Elkins pointed out there is a pretty good bet too.
Yeah, I think I would rather go bases for a few of the factors that, as much as those splits are just so juicy, and you're like, oh, I gotta have a piece of Mountcastle tonight. It is in Camden, where it is a fucking mile to left field.
Yeah.
He does hit left-handed pitching well, but only 3 of his home runs in Camden have been off left-handed header or left-handed pitching. So
Yeah.
it just takes an absolute moonshot to get it out of there. And like you said, Kikuchi is throwing good pitches that are inducing soft contact. So like to me, with also what it's looking like the wind blowing in from center field,
Mm,
even if he hits it just dead on straight, it's going right into the teeth of that wind.
yeah.
So that's why you're seeing these odds as bad as they are.
Right.
And FanDuel, they're depressed. Mountcastle is the lowest odds in the market on
Oh,
FanDuel. When I'm
yeah.
playing, and you could shop that on Picket. There we go. We'll plug the sponsor.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Mountcastle. To me, yes, he kills Kikuchi. This does look like a good play, but when you can get a plus 630 out there in the marketplace, the promo also, if you're budget conscious and you're not trying to throw 5 or 6, or if you're trying to keep it to 5 or 6 plays versus going up to 10,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I would fade Mountcastle simply because you're getting the worst price in the market, and the park conditions aren't very conducive for him to pull a Kikuchi pitch to left field. So
Yeah.
if I was going to go anything in this game at all, I
Yeah.
would take maybe like a Brandon Belt against Rodriguez. A lot easier asked going to right field. And Brandon Belt and Rodriguez has higher velocity, all these things where
Yeah.
I think it would be a better bet. Plus, his price is a little more correct to the market. So
Hmm.
I just, to me, this is a game that you fade on FanDuel. Honestly,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but
No, I'm with it. Like I said, I'm not betting any of those stuff. Like we were
mhm.
talking dingers, so I was just like, look,
Yep,
Mountcastle is such a
bases.
juicy bet. But to your point about the wind blowing in at Camden, which certainly is just going to crush that idea, and is partly why, even though he's depressed, like you said, and they juiced it down heavily on FanDuel because of this promo, which I hope people are partly aware of as well. I don't want to be that guy, but
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you're shopping those home runs before you
Yep,
just blindly bet them because of the promo. And Mountcastle is juiced up a little bit, I think, in other places because they want you to take him because they know about that wind as well, which can be
yep,
so crushing. And Kikuchi, like we said, getting that weak contact induced. So, but yeah, my favorite bet there is Baltimore money line because of all the things I broke down. I still think at -116 where I got them on FanDuel,
yep.
that they were the one place, like bullpen all even. These two pitchers, really great stuff right now. And then these lineups is just the one place where it was like Baltimore is a steady top 5 lineup against
Mhm.
lefties and righties all season, so you know
Yep.
what you're getting. And when it comes to that Toronto lineup versus righties, just don't like it there. So anything that you did want to bring up baseball there then?
No, I think that we covered that game good, and you mentioned the one note of, hey, shop these lines, make sure you're getting a good line in the market if you want to take a guy to bet on Dinger Tuesday. That's important. I put a few plays in my channel when we get to these other games of those examples. Like we talked about the Nats and Yankees, and Stone Garrett is my play in that game for Dinger Tuesday. One, Yankee Stadium, great weather for a home run tonight. Bad pitchers, all the things you want for a home run type of Dinger Tuesday. And Stone Garrett, his price is highest on FanDuel. Other places in the marketplace, it's $1.50 less. So those are the types of things you want to take
Yeah,
these that help increase your EV. You're hoping you get at least 2 or 3 home runs out of the game, but you want to also pick a guy ideally that has a good matchup, which Stone does. He does have that home run offer on in their head to head, and you're also getting a great price on FanDuel. When all of those things come together, that's a play, and
absolutely.
that's where I'm sick on Monday nights. I'm just like up at 3 a.m. waiting and watching these lines drop because I know by the time we're talking about them, they're going to be 25 cents, 30 cents, sometimes $1 lower than where they are on the initially dropped.
Yeah,
And hey, if you don't get one where you get CLV, you can cash it out and pick a different spot.
yeah,
That's the beauty of this. It's like, hey, most of these will stay about the same. Very rarely are they going to go up a lot unless weather or something like that has happened.
right,
So you can cash that bet out, not lose anything, and then take a spot where you think maybe the matchup is better,
right.
or just pass on the game altogether. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
we
I'm
can
with that.
move on
And,
to the
and
next one.
Will get so mad at me because I'll be looking at stuff the night before and then I'll talk about what my bet is and I'll forget to look at what it is when I wake up in the morning. And like if wherever whichever way the line moved. And so I'll give the number that I bet it at and he'll be so pissed. But it's like, look, one, my bad. I actually don't always have time to re-look it up, but I'll do better.
Sure.
But the other part is like if there's still value at what I got it at, then you should know that. And if there's not, then it's a good bet. And if you can still find it and monitor it, then it's something to look at. But that is the
Yeah.
most important thing too when tailing someone is what is the closing number compared to what they talked about. And if it's someone that you consistently tail who beats the closing number and finds value and their bet ends up having that EV, then maybe
Yep.
you should just go ahead and hit them before that line moves and when they give out that bet. So either way, yeah, it's all good content there. For
For sure.
baseball, did you want to put together a little like parlay here? Like we had some success last time. We got a little
Yeah.
5-1 that we put together on a 3-legger, right?
Absolutely. Well, first, I know Brian, who had the technical difficulties. He gave us a leg. What's his favorite leg? And then That way I can work around what you guys are.
Well, the thing is I think his favorite is my favorite,
Oh, dang.
um, which
Well,
is fine. Hold on though. He liked
mhm.
yeah, no, we were both on Washington and fading Rodon, but I think we throw the under
Okay.
5.5 Ks on there for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we go under 5.5 for Rodon. Um, it sounds like Mount Castle bases might be a play that we all kind of liked. I don't know. I know Brian doesn't bet a ton of offense, but um, you liked the spot. Is that something that you think is you want to have a piece of? Is that a best bet or a parlay quality piece, or
Which
what do you
one?
think? Mount Castle bases.
That was one I just started putting together. My only bet from that one is really the money line, and so if
Yeah,
we're
money
putting together
line.
parlay, let's put that one in our pocket and see if there's anything we
Okay,
can do a little bit
we'll
more.
hold on to that one.
Yeah.
Big total in the Braves and the Mets game.
Yep.
So many sluggers. It's honestly the ideal conditions for home runs. You get that heat and humidity down in Atlanta. You got two guys that have been hit hard by these lineups. Like I think we could see a pretty big score. I don't like ever taking an over when it's 10.5 unless
Right.
we know it's like in Coors or in Mexico City or
Right.
something like that. In the cornfield or something. But
Mhm.
so I don't know. I'm gonna kind of peek
Do you wanna
around a
pocket that
little
one
bit.
too? Because it actually juiced down to the at the over there, -122,
Yeah,
on
I think.
FanDuel. If you
Gosh,
look at it
man,
on
I
DraftKings,
what
it's
about
11 on DraftKings.
whew, that's just too rich for my blood.
Still
I don't want to get it. Because I mean, you may run into a thing where we do get 4 home runs in this game, but some are solo shots and stuff, and so
yeah, I'm
you
not
might
as
end up.
scared. Like, Tyler McGill was alright his last time out, which
Yeah.
kinda burned me. Elder has been so up and down, man, that
Hmm.
he's not a bad fade. And this Mets team is 6.5 games out of the wild card.
Yeah.
Will is torturing me. Every time he can get the chance, he'll just be like, "The Mets are almost in the wild card." Laugh my ass off because they just traded away 2 Hall of Famers, blah, blah, blah. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if we're putting it as a part of a parlay here, like, man, do I love I think we can just close our eyes and bet on the Mariners at this point. They're
I
playing
was just
your
gonna
Chi
say,
Sox.
I almost gave you. I almost said Julio bases. Like this guy's so locked in.
Yeah,
Um, Clevenger. I mean, Julio's one of my plays for Dinger Tuesday.
great.
Um,
What's the
he's
basis for
he
him?
was plus 350 on FanDuel. I don't know if he's still plus 350 this second.
Yeah.
He is, yeah, still 350. So this is a bet you can make right now. If you go
Okay,
around
great.
the marketplace, he's like as low as 265 and he goes up to about 310, I think was DraftKings number that they were hanging.
Okay.
And that might have been 365. I'm not 100% sure, but again, Julio's in a great spot because one, you're getting the best price in the market on FanDuel. And then two, he's got a great head to head against Clevenger.
Yep.
And three, he's locked the fuck in.
Oh
Like,
god.
give me a guy who's getting 5 hits in a game and like
Yeah.
just absolutely
Broke
mashing.
broke the record, broke all kinds of hitting records for a series with how many
Well, yeah, there was a meme that was going around where it was like he's had a better month of August than the Yankees offense all combined or something like
100%.
that. Like
Yeah. I totally believe
it's
that. So,
it's nuts.
what do you think about his total bases is -130, probably a
I
nice
think I'd
stat.
rather go two hits at 165. Like
Let's do it.
he's going to get 5 at bats this game. The Mariners are raking, like you said,
Breaking.
and at 2 bases, I mean, yeah, he could just hit you that double and stuff, but like I don't like 130 for 2 bases.
I know.
It's too gross for me to lay again, unless it's maybe a Coors or a one of those parks that just has enormous outfields
Yeah.
and you can uh, get a cheap double or something. But yeah, I'd rather just have him get 2 hits. Like
Fuck it.
I think at that price, it'll juice the parlay too,
Yeah,
which is fun.
let's get it up, man. Fuck. Like,
Okay.
we just won a 5-1. We've got a little bit of money to work with here.
Yeah, we got some. All right, so we got Rodon. I'm building this right now as we're doing
Yep.
it.
Appreciate it.
Rodon under 5.5. You still like at -144. That's not too bad. So we're at plus 350
You
now.
yeah. Which book are you
Uh,
doing this on?
this is FanDuel.
Okay, cool.
I just do it on
No, that's
FanDuel
cool.
because it's the one most people have, and
Yep.
Other spots, I feel like, gosh, Syndergaard's on the bump. For the Guardians, the Dodgers, like, Mookie probably steals a base on him tonight, but again, that's probably too crazy to put into a parlay.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
Lazardo. Let me talk about Lazardo. How
please.
he's been absolutely being
He
destroyed.
he he tricked me into freaking betting on him last time out. So yeah, let's
Woo!
freaking talk about Lozado.
Yeah, I mean he's been just getting killed this month. I
Shelled.
mean, for a guy he was peeking into the Cy Young conversation in July, and his August he is just
Dude,
falling off a cliff.
however much you believe in it, he
Yeah.
slammed into his pitching wall. Like, he's
Yep.
never pitched as far as he's pitched right now, so
Yep. And the way hey, I'm wearing the Padres hat today, and it was for a reason. I wanted to remind myself to bet Padres stuff tonight.
to bet Blakey
Um,
Snell?
I mean, Snell should have success against this Marlins team, I think. But I tend to leave the pitching props to Ryan and Nick and Brian and you guys that are a little more locked into it than I am, because I feel like every time I find a spot that I absolutely love, it'll be like, all right, we got Gallon at home, or we got Burns against the team he had 13 Ks against last time, and then all of a sudden I'll lock it in, and then the guy has just the worst uh, swing and miss rate of his like month.
Yeah.
He just can't. So for me, I'll do you guys a favor, and all the Snell betters tonight, I'll stay off of his K prop, just because I've had abysmal luck tailing them or coming up with them my own. Again, I think offense is the way to go. You look at him, like Luzardo has been being absolutely destroyed by righties. Padres will go Kim, Tatis, Machado, Bogey, Sanchez. Like, they'll just throw a murderer's row at him. And I his Ks, are they still high? What are they, 6.5 or so? Or are they 5.5? Let's see, better pitcher. Okay, they're down to 5.5 now. They've really started to. The market is corrected on Luzardo. Maybe under his outs, it's 15.5. So he's got to get you into the sixth inning. What do you think? Can he do that? I can't hear you, man. I don't know what's happening.
My bad. I muted real
There you
quick.
go. Yeah,
There was something truck driving by, but the
you're good.
the way I played this game was Blake Snell over outs. I was on
Okay,
just on that, and so for Luzardo to fade though, what's his outs at?
15.5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Getting into the sit. I mean, getting past the
So
five.
yeah, 3.2
Ah,
and 3.1 in his last two starts. And like you mentioned,
yeah.
he's kind of hitting the wall. He's only
Yeah.
gone into the sixth inning once in his last four starts.
Okay.
And that was, he went 5.1 against the Rangers and got,
Yep.
hit for 3 home runs and four
Right.
earned runs.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
they're trying to make the playoffs. It's just a little surprising that I don't know if they wanted to, like, it just seems to make sense that you would shelf him at this point for the sake of he's not helping you get into the playoffs, and if you do get into the playoffs, you want
mhm,
him available. So why is he
yep,
still out there? And so it does make sense that they would pull him early and he would have a short leash. Um, the Padres are a team that have burned me, and maybe I need to just like put my blinders on and just remember that like it's a matchup based thing here, and you
yeah,
can definitely get some value on fading a lefty against those really good righty hitters.
hmm
So I'm with all that. It's just my favorite bet that I actually already bet on was Blake Snell over 17.5.
no,
I'd like him to get the 6 innings pitched, and there
I dig
might
it.
be walks in there, but like there are gonna be strikeouts as well, and there's gonna be
Okay.
a really good K rate and just out rate when he's got runners in scoring position. He's got a 17.2 K per nine ratio with like 2-2 counts right now, which is
Let's roll
wild.
it, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
we're getting almost 7-1. Don't
yeah.
let me talk you out of it.
All
I
right.
just have this bullshit where, like, again, I've
You
been
want to throw
cursed.
Luzardo in there?
That's the thing. I like Snell, and I like what you're saying. He's going to get us. He's going to get us into this. Probably into the seventh inning. I would think.
I think
But
so. Can I give you a little bit more? I might even just push you right over the edge.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
Marlin.
I was thinking it's fade Luzardo season, but you're talking me into Snell. You said it's your favorite bet. It's in pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to double expose yourself, I'm fine.
That's why
I'm
I can
fine
be
doing
talked
it.
out of it. My last piece of info was that the Marlins offense is
Yeah.
hitting 170 versus lefties the last 2
Whew,
weeks. It's
whew.
pretty nice, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But there's
I
no
dig
reason
it.
this can't be a four-legger if you wanna throw a little Luzardo on there, or, you know, whatever. How do you
Yeah,
like Luzardo compared to, the hits for our guy Julio?
yeah. I mean, I'm wanting to get a piece of Julio.
Alright,
Like,
perfect. Let's do it.
I definitely don't want to leave him out. 2 hits, and then we got 2 pitching props.
Yep.
Uh, I'm happy with it. We're at
Okay.
7-1. I mean,
Alright.
this is better odds than the last one. Brian, I think we all liked the Rodon fade,
Yeah.
and you talked me into Snell. And I don't. If anybody wants to fade Julio right now, like, I mean, goodness, you're a braver man than I.
Yeah,
So
I'm not.
yeah,
No, I
let's
like
do
it.
it.
Alright,
Let's
cool.
do it. All right, we'll lock it in,
Awesome.
and I'll post it on Twitter for everybody so they can
Perfect.
kill that bad boy.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
my dinger pick in this one, Gary Sanchez.
Okay.
This dude should
Not to
be in
cheat.
there tonight against Luzardo. I think 37% of his hits are home runs. Like right now, like
Wow.
he is,
He's mashing.
yeah, mashing.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at just like for all the things we don't have to run through what Luzardo's struggles have been this month, but he's a guy that really struggles against
Yeah.
the right-handed pit, right-handed side of right-handed hitters, excuse me. And then yeah, so it all adds up. I like his price better than I like Machado, who's another good look, who's also locked in. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, he's got the best price
again,
of those guys.
I'm not rooting against Machado to get a home run. Give me that free bet, like
No, I'm
so,
with it. Cool, man.
yep. You
Awesome.
got
I think
anything else that you
no, I
like?
was
I
gonna
mean,
say, I know we got
uh,
a super late start, but I got everything out there that I'm playing in baseball for sure.
cool.
I don't think we need to get into any other sports right now. We
One,
can go
one
ahead.
quick question, and
Yeah, yeah,
we'll get out of here.
for sure.
So, with Haupt coming back after the long layoff, what do you think he's like? To me, looking at it with Verlander and the Astros at like -140, like to me that seems cheap. Now I know the Red Sox have been absolutely locked in and mashing like for the last week or so, but
Yeah.
I don't know. You got a starting pitcher that we have no idea what he's going to look like or how long he's going to go. Verlander's been pretty good, and he had that. Even though the game he lost against the Yankees, I don't think he pitched bad.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. To me, I looked at that. I was trying to make sense of it. What do you think?
You're saying what's the number that you're looking at? It's a money line for
You
the
go
Stros?
Verlander, and you just go like you make sure you get the starting pitchers are action, and you just take Verlander with the Stros money line as -140. To me, it makes
Which
a lot of
Verlander bet?
sense. No Verlander bet. You just make sure
Oh, you're
he's your
saying take the
starting
money line.
pitcher.
Oh,
You know
okay,
what I
gotcha.
mean?
Gotcha.
I've with
No,
a guy who's into his 40s now. You
yeah.
never quite know if it's going to
Right.
be a strain and warm ups or something. But uh, I like it. To
I
me, I think he could have some success.
Yep, I'm with it.
Okay.
I've got a bunch of money dumped into the Rangers AL West. Let me put it this way. I put enough money on the Rangers AL West and the Cubs to make
Mhm.
the playoffs that like a lot of what I do is now skewed by that, including
Sure.
betting on the Astros and betting on the Reds or the
Yeah.
Brewers or whatever, because it's kind of like that deep at this point.
Mhm.
So I'm actually happy at times to bet on the Astros through the lens of feeling like every bet is a hedge in a way, a mini
Mhm.
hedge. And so with Houck, like you said, coming back this way in Houston. Yeah, I think there's going to be some opportunity for some balls to go over the left field wall for the Stros, and then you feel pretty good about -142 of a number. Like you said, the
Yeah.
Sox they've scared me. Casas has come through ever since Brad said maybe he's rookie of the year, even though Yoshida's on his team as well.
Right.
But and he's raked since actually that point, which is it was just still never a good bet because it was like he's already too far back and he's splitting votes and whatever. But yeah, I mean
Right.
that offense has been terrifying, and Justin Turner hasn't even been fueling it quite as much as he was at one point in the season. It's a
Mhm.
lot of Devers and Casas and stuff. So but still, to your point, like Verlander should be able to handle him in a park that he's pitched at a million times. Houck, I would be down to fade to your point. So that's a long-winded way of saying I agree.
You're gonna do a three leg money line parlay of the the Stros, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks because you get to fade your Rangers there with Gallen at
There you
home.
go.
There you go. That's
Yeah, but if I'm gonna throw a money line bet in a parlay tonight, it's the
uh,
Mariners for sure.
Mariners too. Yep,
Yeah,
got to throw the Mariners in, right?
yeah, for
And
sure.
oh wait, and your Orioles. Now we're getting real degen now. We got
Yeah,
a
we're
five
getting
leg money line.
a five-legger money line is real degen shit for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah.
But
Dude, this is fun. We got to get out of here before we get ourselves in trouble. We're going to have
yeah,
like
all
100 bets
good,
in
man.
tonight.
No doubt. This was a good time. We definitely
Yeah,
salvaged what we could for sure. So I appreciate you jumping on last minute,
for
man.
sure, bro.
We will be back tomorrow, assuming Brian can get his stuff together. We'll have Brad on. Who knows if Matkafee will come on again? We'll just be hitting him up. But either way, for Pickett Sports, Sleeper Picks, Hall of Fame. I got to get that one right next time.
Hall of Fame
Josh
bets.
Lander, Hall of Fame bets. Thank
Yep,
you. All right, there we go.
absolutely.
I'll have it ready for next time if they ever let me host again, which they probably won't. But we'll see you guys next time.